Welcome to TNT, baby, the naked truth with Taylor Armstrong, where I'm going to expose everything about my life, and my guests are going to come on, get naked with me, and bear it all. Now, let's get naked. Hey, it's TNT, and I'm Taylor, and I'm here with my bestie, Gemma.
Hello.
Hi, sweetie. Okay, I was thinking about something today because I feel like I'm either having too high expectations or they were really lower and I've raised them as I've gotten older, and I'm just trying to figure out whether I'm an asshole or what the problem is. I mean, don't answer the asshole part because I think I might know what you're saying. Yeah, but what our expectations are in friendships, in our marriages, in our business partners. I just feel like, am I just holding the bar way too high for people because I'm feeling frustrated?
Okay, so it's really sad because I ask myself all the time that I have like way too high expectations of other people all the time. But it's because I have that crazy expectation of myself as well.
And that's true with you, for
and,
sure.
And I do think, well, I think you have a high expectation of yourself too.
Because you're a super overachiever, and so then anyone beneath you or around you is kind of feels like
beneath
they're not.
me.
I mean, beneath you in business, not beneath you in like socially. I just mean like anyone that works under you that helps you. You expect them to hold everything to your standards, and your expectations are high.
Well, they're high because everything that isn't like, if you have the potential to do something really well and you're just like not doing it, but you have all the tools to do it.
You're like half-assing.
Yeah, you're half-assing it. It's horrible for me to watch because then it's like a tragedy. It's like a tragedy.
Right.
Yeah, so I expect people to I live up to their potential.
I said right. I forgot we have the right and like jar.
Oh
and
my God,
I just said right.
Again.
So we are going to break each other of saying right and like. If it kills us, I mean, or maybe not kills us, but it might. Because
scared.
I feel as though that's all we ever say. So anytime you say right or like, and I say right or like, we have to put a chip in the jar. And then we're going to even these out and go to Vegas.
Absolutely.
And celebrate our right and likeness.
I'm ready to go to Vegas.
Absolutely. So with expectations, I think my expectations have changed over time in the different aspects of my life. In business, definitely working with you, my expectations of others working around us have become much higher because you're such a perfectionist in a positive way, and you expect perfection from capable people.
Am I a perfectionist?
You are. I mean, in a good way, not as though it's a negative. It's just when you see something getting done and you know
wild.
someone
I never thought
is
of myself
more,
as a perfectionist.
when you have capable people around you and you know they can do better, but they just didn't put in the effort, it frustrates you. And
That's
it's
true, but I mean,
I'm
not perfect at everything, but I frustrate myself as well.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, when I'm like not making the mark, I'm like, oh my God, I'm like.
But your marks are high.
It's really bad.
But you hold yourself to such a high expectation, and you are like relentless when it comes to not sleeping and just staying up until the job is
Getting it done.
And you want to make sure that people are around you, and also it helps them to succeed and to feel success when they accomplish something they didn't really know they were capable of.
That's my favorite thing.
Because you set the expectation for them.
Right. My favorite thing is helping other people realize how powerful they are.
And you do such an amazing job of it. And I just love the fact that nothing's going to get out the door with any of our businesses until it's to Gemma's level of expectations.
This is horrific.
I know. No, it's true. It's a positive thing. It's a power thing. It's great. But I was thinking about expectations in sex, like just to completely go off the rails.
Totally.
Is when you get married or when you start dating and the sex is like really crazy and everybody's all fired up. And then as things go on, it's just impossible.
You're like, I need to sleep.
I need to sleep. And you've been working all night. And then your husband wants to have, not yours, a husband, a spouse, a partner, I don't care, somebody you're sleeping with, wants to have morning sex. And you're exhausted. You've been up all night working on a website or something. And as much as you want to be an accommodating, loving partner, men's testosterone surges between 6 and 9 a.m. And I do not get up between 6 and 9 a.m.
No, it's not happening.
Whole nudging thing.
You're like, roll me over if you need to have to do it. I'm not going to do it.
And then the whole like bullshit thing where my husband will try to start rubbing my shoulders like it's I know you're sleeping. I just want to care for you and really start your day off nice with a shoulder rub. I'm like, cut it, because I already know where this is going,
exactly,
and I'm trying to sleep, right?
Yeah.
And he's not like a famous masseuse or anything. Like, this is just some bullshit
You're like,
shoulder squeezing thing, and I'm like, I'm not falling for this, first of all, and I'm sleeping. I haven't brushed my teeth.
But somehow we have fallen for it, because it's been like 12 or 13 years, right? Like, We fell for it.
We fell for it early on,
Yeah.
but now I'm just like,
Those
back
shoulder
off.
rubs have really gotten like
No.
some good deals out of that shoulder rubbing.
And 100%. And also, he snores like
Oh, the snoring.
crazy. So I'm up with you on the phone to all hours in the morning
Yeah.
working, and then I go to bed, and he's been asleep because snorers always fall asleep first. That's just a
Absolute-
fact. And so I get to bed, and he's snoring all night, and then he starts trying to rub my shoulders at 6 a.m., and I'm like, you better back off, jack off, because this is not happening.
then if
I can
you-
tell you right now. And by the way, just back off and go jack off,
You're
because
like,
we
I
are not
have
having sex right now.
Seen all
It's
night.
not happening. Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
no, I mean that's how you feel. Like in your head,
oh, I
you're
said
totally
right.
passionate
I
about
forgot
it.
about the right bucket.
Oh my gosh.
I do, and it doesn't feel passionate to me. I haven't brushed my teeth. I could use a latte. If you want to make
God.
yourself useful in the morning.
But it's also not sexy to schedule sex. It's, you know what I mean? It's so
agree.
crazy because like on one hand, I want somebody who's just like take control, has an awesome time. You know what I mean?
While
Like
you're
I don't want to think
sleeping?
about it. I mean, yeah, like even if I'm sleeping, if it's fucking hot, I'll wake up. Okay.
Okay.
I mean, maybe it's the mediocre sex we're not waking up for.
Exactly. And
I mean, I don't know
also-
because I know when it was really crazy hot, it was every day, whether late for work, not late for work, wherever. Like
Oh, I
no,
kinda
yeah.
love
I mean,
that.
when it's hot, I think you don't care if you're sleeping.
Memories at the corners of my mind.
If it's like roll over, baby, I want to stick it in. That's not
I
not
know.
sexy.
And I kind of feel as though if it has to happen at that hour, that is my go-to. Is
'Cause I have
let's get
older
it
friends-
done because I'm tired.
I have older friends
I am an
that
older
have
friend.
hot young guys they're seeing, and they feel like they're 20 again.
But
So is it really just being in a bad routine that leads to this like dissatisfaction, and somehow you have to make yourself sexy and hot like you were when you first met? But like, and for women, like, is that forgetting about the bills, or like, what is that forgetting about? Like, what point can women go back without intoxicating themselves?
well, and
right?
when you're intoxicated, it's better.
Yeah,
Because
that's
then
what
I feel
mean.
sexier.
Like, how do you get all this shit out of your head so that you can have hot sex again?
And in the morning, you think, okay, the kids are downstairs. Like, I need to
Yeah.
go make them
All the stuff. You
breakfast,
don't wanna make any
and they're
noise.
trying to have sex with you, and you haven't brushed your teeth, and your latte, and the kids are downstairs. You're
Yeah.
just thinking, I can't do this right now. I
Yeah, it's
cannot
not
focus
happening.
on the me at all.
And then
in
your
this.
phone's going off. You're answering your phone in the
Yeah,
middle
it's
of sex.
you actually
Yeah.
texting me.
Yeah, it's me.
Here's all the things that we need to get done today. So that is just, the morning thing does not work for me. And then why is it hormonally that men surge from 6 to 9 a.m. and women surge from 6 to 9 p.m.? Is that some
Evil trick.
nature's way of just betraying us? Or is it so we aren't like rabbits and have like 5 million children?
I think it's got to be the not like rabbits. Or maybe they don't care. I don't think nature cares.
Nature doesn't care,
No,
but it
nature
makes no
doesn't
sense
care.
really that our rhythms are so
It's
off from a
unfortunate.
hormonal
It's the
perspective.
natural irony of life.
And then I feel like John is on the phone all day. He's working, so by the time he comes home, he's not in the whole let's be sexy mode
No,
either.
it's morning. That's why it's like morning for men.
Because they've left
But do you
everything
ever feel
in
like
their
you just
sleep.
have to do it even if you don't want to?
Yeah, because then you feel like I'm obligated because that's the
Yeah.
expectation that we created when we first got together. So it's
Right.
managing expectations. And I don't know if on the front end you're just like, by the way, this is a
And
no-go.
then you're like building resentment over something that's so crazy. And this is what I mean by like people missing the mark in relationships. Like they actually love each other, but it's like you have all these things that are just like cycling out of control, right? That like you can't fix. Like the bottom line is he wants to have sex in the morning, you want to have sex at night, right? Somebody's going to have to give
We
in.
both said right.
Oh God. At the same time.
Right bucket. But also, if you just do it because you're trying to please them, is that out of love or is it out of
Fear.
obligation, fear, or you just want to hear about
Is
it?
it fear?
let's
Like I
get
just
it
don't want to
over
put up with
with.
this.
Or on the front end, do you go, okay, I want you to know before we like get any more serious, I am not into the whole morning sex thing. So just take it off the table so we don't have to
Like
talk
it's
about it
never
again.
going to happen.
It's never going to happen.
Yeah.
And then if you tell them that, they're like, see you later, alligator.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. And then also it's like, how old are you? Because if you said that to a 20-year-old, which I don't think any 20-year-old cares about when they're having sex, this is
'Cause
like
they just want to do it all day, every day.
this is like when you're older and you're tired and you have to work or you're busy during the day, you have to come down at night, you got kids, things are happening. Like, I think when you're younger, you just don't care. You just want to do it whenever you can do it. But like when you're
and
older,
anywhere.
and anywhere,
Anytime,
yeah,
anywhere.
you're like cool, yeah, no. And then you get older and you're like scheduling it legitimately.
Kind of
And
you
then
have
usually, like, I don't know, Thursday comes and you're just like, I'm actually too tired today. So can
Check
we
in with me tomorrow.
reschedule for Monday?
This is so sad. We have to put it on our Google Calendar For sure. Our shared calendar. You let me know when you're going to
Like,
do
this
it, and
is
I'll do
so
it at the same time
sexy.
so we don't text each other during
Yeah.
or like try to
There's like
communicate
there's
during. This
no
is horrible.
possible way to have hot sex scheduled.
This is, no, it
No,
has
it's
to be
already going to be bad. You
spontaneous.
might as well not schedule it.
I agree. I guess we're just going to have to take it as we get it. But that also goes back to expectations before you get married. One of my good friends, she's always wanted to have a baby, and she met the quote unquote love of her life. And he told her from the outset, don't expect for me to have a baby. Like, this is not something I want in my life. And she was of the mindset, the longer he's with me, once
gonna
we
fall
get
in love with me.
married, then he's going to give me this baby. And they were together for 5-6 years, and she wanted to get married, and he kept saying, I am not getting married. I'm not having a baby. So she kept moving the bar
And
on
depending how old
her
you are,
expectations.
those 6 years can be pretty detrimental.
Absolutely. And now they've broken up because she gave them the big U, the ultimatum. And I didn't think it was
Ultimatums.
really that fair because she knew what he was saying, but she wasn't listening. So I'm going to tell you the outcome when we come back, because it's heartbreaking, but at the same time, you got to listen, because sometimes people tell you exactly who they are.
So hard to actually watch and listen.
It really is. So we'll be right back with TNT. Okay, we're back, TNT with Taylor and Gemma. So I'm heartbroken for my friend, but in talking about expectations, when someone tells you on the front end exactly what their expectations are, and the other person is telling you, I cannot fulfill those expectations, and you keep trying to believe that the closer we get, they're going to come over to my side, and it's something as serious as marriage and children. I don't know how you can expect that to change.
Yeah, it's not going to change. Like,
It's
that's
not
the
gonna
thing.
change.
And I think that that's a really big situation. And then, especially with children being such a make or break for a lot of people. And I do believe that men also are as maternal as women. It's really interesting because my daughter just had a baby.
That's right.
Her husband is so maternal, and I've never even seen or experienced that before, like, in my own life with a man in my relationship, right? But, like,
You were really surprised.
yeah, I was surprised, and I was like, wow, and he, like, always wanted to have kids, and, like, so there's men that want to always have kids too. We always just assume it's the woman,
That's so true.
so I think, like, also, like, women who don't want to have kids, and there's more of them, I think, now than ever. Like, a lot of my friends' daughters are like, we're never having kids. They're not. Like, my daughter is very, like, from the time she was like 15, I want to get married and have babies. Like, that's what she wants to do. So it's either a really big maternal instinct or not. And I think you definitely have to discuss it. And if somebody's like, you know what, I already know that I'm not going to be a good parent. I definitely do not want to have children. You have to, like, listen to them. Because even if it's like okay, I'll do it to stay with you. Because I have a girlfriend like that too, where her husband's like, he said no, no, no. And now he's like, well, maybe, but it's because he wants to maintain his life. Not because he wants to actually raise another human being to be a great human being.
Exactly. And my girlfriend who went through this, she stayed with her boyfriend who told her from the beginning, I don't want to get married, don't want to have kids. And now fast forward, it's been 5 years and she's 40. And
That's a long time when you're 40.
They finally broke up because she
Yeah.
gave him the ultimatum.
Right.
Either we're getting married and having children or I'm leaving. And the danger in ultimatums, of course, is you could lose. And that's where they are. And now she feels resentful toward him because now she's 40 and she doesn't feel like it's an optimum time for her to have a baby, even though plenty of women do, just for her personally. And she's angry with him, even though he told her from the very beginning exactly who he was.
Well, she's not going to be as angry as she's going to be in so many years when she runs into him in a shopping mall with his wife and his kid.
No, please no, that's horrible.
Because that's where that's going.
Oh,
like,
no. Have you had friends
sometimes
who...
you don't want a kid with this particular person and you don't want to say it,
Oh,
right?
that's so bad. I've had friends in that situation where the guy or the wife, the woman says over and over, I don't want to get married, I don't want to get married. Then they break up, and then like 2 months later,
They're married.
They're married to somebody else.
Yeah.
It's not they didn't want to get married; they want to get married to you.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
It's a hard reality. It's a hard reality to be like, oh, it was me.
It was me.
Not the situation.
But expecting to change someone on the level of a subject of as big as having children.
You can't expect to change anybody ever. And honestly, if somebody's knows something and then they change it for you, they're changing it for you. It's not gonna and eventually there's going to be resentment.
A resentment.
Like, I changed this for you.
Exactly. And when the
No.
baby, we both know how difficult it is to raise infants, and they're crying and you're exhausted and they're up all night. And the partner that didn't want to have the child is going to be like, well, here you go. You wanted the baby. You stay up all night with
and
it.
then who suffers? The kid.
The kid. And then
Yeah.
also the guilt that now the mom or the spouse that wanted to have the baby feels because the other partner is having to contribute to something they never wanted. It's just so complicated.
It is.
And I've always heard a saying along the lines of, listen to what people tell you when they tell you exactly who they are.
I know.
Especially men.
Especially everybody. Honestly, everybody. The signs are always there, I think. And I feel like at our age, like even when we met each other, like when you meet somebody, to not have your guard up, to not automatically distrust them, like to have a feeling about somebody, like where I am in my life right now is like, I feel like when I meet somebody, like I just get the energy, and it's like the energy is either a pass or a go, and they don't go on to the next level.
We've earned that over time.
You earn that. And then, but God, if you could have that superpower when you're younger, it's a superpower.
Right? It's like, if we could take all the experience we have and like shove it into one 25-year-old woman.
Oh my God.
To be president.
Power woman.
Like incredible
I know.
power woman.
If I could just know what I know now.
I know.
Yeah,
I
and
feel
you just want to share it with people.
Yeah.
And it is a country song.
But if we only knew, and I have to be better at listening to people too when they're telling me who they are. But I'm such a people pleaser that I run by a lot of those red flags, not necessarily in romantic relationships, but with friendships.
Right.
And I have a friend, as you know, who really has hurt my heart this last year because I was there for her. I was the friend at 2 a.m. I was the friend at 10 a.m. She cried to me
Right.
all
And you're
day,
taking
every
it
day.
seriously,
And I just,
like a friendship.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And literally there was a time when we were posting on social together all the time and people kept saying like they're besties. And then I realized later, once she got through the difficult time she was going through, crickets.
That was it. No more.
And every phone call was only about her. And I was fine with that. And I really love my new hot rod car
I
that
know.
I just got.
It's hot.
It's hot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just going to repeat that sentence. You might want to mark that one. So this friend, I'm there for her all day, every day while she's going through a difficult time, bawling her eyes out nonstop. And then as soon as her situation was figured out and she was happy again, I never hear from her. And I was the shoulder that she cried on for so long.
It's really horrible when people reveal themselves like that to you and you feel like you're building this bond with somebody and one day they just show that side and you're like, wow. So I was just kind of like there to fill your space, somebody to cry to. Like it could have been anybody, had nothing to do with our relationship with each other. And it's hurtful.
It's so hurtful.
Yeah.
And those kinds of experiences, unfortunately, as you and I have discussed, put your radar up for the next friendship.
Yeah.
Where you're constantly thinking, is this a give and take or is this just a take?
This comes back to expectations too, though.
It does.
Because I think it's expectations in friendships and what you expect from somebody. I know for me, I've literally been let down so many ways by so many people that I really have like zero expectation. And if anything positive happens, it's a plus, right?
Shim.
And no, really. And so I think like, okay, so I actually at this point like have to go into everything just completely trusting that, okay, this person, and you have to, that's what I'm saying, like that when you get the energy and you let it pass or you don't. Like it took me years and a lot of relationships like that where it was so one-sided because I'm the friend that shows up.
100%.
You call me, you're sick, you need to go somewhere, you need to do something, like I show up. Like I will drop what I'm doing and I will be there for you because as you know and I know, like things can end badly for people. Maybe a depression someone's going through is going to end in suicide or into something really bad. So if my friend calls me at any time with any situation, no matter how ridiculous it is, I will be there. If I have to drive 2 days to get there. So when you do that for somebody and then you like call them and they can't even like listen to you bitch for 5 seconds about your bad day, that's a problem.
Or when you call them and want to share something that's going on in your life and then they immediately switch it around to how something's worse for them.
Oh yeah, and you're like, this is one-sided?
I feel very not, like nobody listened to me today on this one. It's so one-sided.
Listening.
But then I don't know how you go into a relationship with a friend or with anyone knowing if it's going to be equal on the expectation side.
The thing is, I think the trick is to not care if it's equal. And I think that's where I've gotten to, like in my life anyway, is that I approach everything with a lot of love and it just has to be love-based. And then I just know that I'm giving the love, and no matter what, I've affected this person in a positive way. And if they're an asshole to me, that's fine. They can be an asshole. They haven't learned their lesson. They haven't grown to that point. Like, I'm meant to be a lesson for that person. I've already learned my lesson. So I don't have the expectation anymore of the friendship. So if it hurts you, it's like you can't blame people, because we hurt people too all the time, right? Like, we don't mean to, but we're human. And that, I mean, not to get religious, but I think that's like the whole sinner thing, right? Like, we all naturally do things not to hurt other people intentionally. It just happens because other people have different expectations, and we can't be in each other's heads.
I agree. It's really hurtful when.
But it is hurtful when you're a friend and you put it out there.
Super one-sided, and you don't realize it until you're so deep into it.
I feel like if the other person is a good person in general, they have to be hurting so badly that they can't even see what they're doing. Unless they're just an asshole, which is completely possible.
Right.
Yeah. So there are just assholes. But but that's what I mean. We got to block the energy blocker first. Only let the good people in. Then once we only got the good people, when they falter, fail us, hurt us, whatever, we know that they're already good people. But if you're like over here and they haven't been tested in the relationship first at all, it's like, oh, okay. And then you got to stop making any effort, because that person's going to call you again in 6 months or whatever when something comes up, and you can be like whatever they need you to be. And that's like, narcissistic, a little bit weird. But you got to, at that point, put the energy blocker up and be like, I'm not letting that in.
Otherwise, I feel like then it's on me.
Yeah, at that point, it's on you.
Once.
And I do that with people too. Like, I know I'm going to end up hurt at the end of this. Like, I know it, and I go into it because I feel like I can still make a positive difference in their life, or like I can teach them something that I think that they need. I usually see where it's going, but I know what my place is. So I'm trying to figure that out. And like, as I get older, I try to figure out like, what is this relationship supposed to mean for both of these people, like myself and the person that I'm working with.
It's enlightening, and it goes back to talking about if we knew when we were younger what we know now. But I think without all the life lessons we've gone through, we wouldn't know how to protect ourselves with expectations.
It's hard earned.
It really is. When we come back, I do want to talk about how do you protect yourself without blocking people out. So we'll be right back. We're back with TNT. Jim and I were just talking about expectations in relationships, all kinds of relationships, whether it's business, friendship,
all of them,
romantic, and also not setting yourself up for failure by having too high of expectations. So how do you go into a friendship relationship, for example, after being burned a few times without expecting the worst or expecting the best in people? Very slowly, right? Yeah, it's like the love lust phase. You can't jump right in even to a friendship.
Yeah.
Because it might just be a romance phase of getting to know each other, like that twinning thing. What is that? Where you you feel like you're
the twin flame thing.
Yeah, when you have like a twin flame, because you have so much in common, and we're both Geminis. Well, and even us, kids.
Yeah, like I've thought about it multiple times with us, because I'm like, okay, is this burning too fast? Like, is this burning too fast? Like, are we like totally just hitting it off so well? Like, okay, are we friends? Like, could it go bad? Like, no. And I think we have adult conversations about it too.
We do.
Where we communicate, like, listen, I would never hurt you. Like, even if you did something I didn't like, we've talked about hard things, I think. And I think even as a friendship, I think that that's important, especially at our age when we've been burned so badly before by people. It's like, okay, well, I'm at a point where I'm like, I don't want to hurt you. And like, you're at the same point where like, I would never hurt you. And I'm like, yeah. And so that's like, you have to be able to talk about it, especially at our age.
I agree.
Because it's like, we've already been through it. Other people have been through it. And we don't have so much time left to be like investing in people that aren't like, have each other's best interests at heart, or time to care about each other, or like just things that you need. Like, we don't have the time for it. There's not going to be like a 20-year test. And that it's the same thing. It's same with divorce, right? You're like, okay, well, how much time do I have left?
Right.
Before I figure this out, or I just die alone. Like,
you better put your right ship in over there, sister.
How many? How many was that?
I know. Okay. Exactly. It is so true, though, that I think that a couple of my friends who've gone in with expectations of changing their partner is the worst mistake. When my husband asked me to marry him, I said, I will marry you, but you cannot change me. Because after my horrific first marriage and everything I went through with changing constantly, I just refused to change again. and you're going to have to love me exactly the way I am, and all 8 of me, us Geminis.
Yeah.
And he's pretty good at that. He does just let me
And I feel
be
like I had the
myself.
same conversation actually with Tony too, because you're like, okay, I've just come through this. This is what happened. That's what happened. Like, I'm never gonna be like this romantic Disney like love pie in the sky,
Right.
you know, because I don't feel like I'm capable of having that again.
Right.
Of having that just total trust, security, and everything. You know, it's very difficult.
So laying out your expectations on the front end, and also what should be expected of you, is important.
What's expected of me, and like he never said what he expected of me, but I was always like trying to express myself anyway because I feel like all those things are important to communicate.
I'm very clear, even with my friends, about the fact that I sleep very odd hours, and you knew that from when you very first met me. And if you need to speak,
That was one of our pluses.
it was definitely one of our pluses.
We had the same schedule.
I stay up super late. I like to write late at night, and I typically sleep until noon. And
Right.
anyone that calls me before noon, someone better be bleeding or something better be going down. The only person that can call me before noon is my daughter or my mother. And other than that, all my friends know that is something you should not expect from me. I am
That's
not
it.
a before noon friend.
It's not here nor there.
But I am a late night friend.
It's
If you're crying yourself to sleep, you can always call me.
Yeah, you're awake.
I'm awake. But don't call me in the morning, because I am not a morning sex person, and I'm not a morning phone call person.
Just don't call.
Don't call.
No.
And everybody knows
But
that.
that's the truth. I mean, well, yeah, when you're up till like 3, I mean, we've had conversations till 3 or 4 in the morning.
I know.
And we go to sleep, and then we have to come here and film in the morning. And I'm like, oh my God, did we stay up that late last
We
night?
did. But we get so much accomplished because everyone else is asleep.
But it's true. I do. And I think that is part of communication. And I think I have friends my whole life that have made fun of me about my hours and the whole thing. But and then I hate it when they're like, oh, you're probably not going to make it. It's at 8 a.m. I'm like, I raised 2 children by myself, and I know how to get up when I need to get up.
Exactly.
Okay.
If it's important.
But if it's important, but do I want to sleep in the morning? Absolutely.
Yes.
Like,
But
because I
that's
get
how we
second wind at
recharge.
night. Yeah,
We
at 10 o'clock
recharge.
at night is the beginning of my day.
I agree.
At 10 o'clock, I'm like ready to go. I can like work. I can think. I don't know what it is. I'm just naturally nocturnal.
You and I are the same.
Yeah.
But that's an expectation that I always try to put forth, so other people don't expect me to be the morning friend.
Right. Yeah,
And
it's never happening.
Just telling the truth on the front end, like I said to John, you can't change me. I'm a free spirit, and he's very big on planning because he's an attorney and he's finance guy. So when we first got together, he'd say, well, "What's your plan for the day?" I'd be like, "Don't ask me that, because my plan
I
is
don't have it."
however it unfolds. So don't expect me to have a plan every day like you do." And
Does he ask every day?
Well, he used to
Or
until
did he
finally
get-
I
or
just
did
said,
he
"Don't
stop?
ask me what my plan is, because my plan is whatever happens, happens." We
You
have too
ask
many
me
businesses.
one more time, I'm getting a divorce.
Right. Whatever I'm feeling. Oh, I said, right. I'm feeling creative in that moment, then I'm going to get up and write. And if I'm feeling like I want to just go take a long bath before I start my day and take phone calls, it's different every day for me. And I think you're the same.
Yeah.
So that's an expectation that I'm
It
not
is an
going to change.
expectation. And I will say with my ex, the horrible one, not my kid's father, but the one after that, he was super annoyed with my late time. Like, he wanted to go to bed at 7:30 or 8.
Oh, no.
Well, yeah, early. Well, because I think he wanted like a 2-hour session before sleeping.
Oh, but you said it was hot.
But yeah, but he's like always like, why are you not coming to bed? Why are you always at the computer? Why are you going back to the computer? Why, and I'm like, oh my God. I remember I would just lay in bed and be like, okay, so he's asleep and I'm staring at the wall. Like, I could be working right now.
Exactly. It's
But they
very
want to be happy.
distracting.
But that was an expectation, one that wasn't really discussed. It was just kind of like the guilt trips and stuff, like when it doesn't work out, when you do need to stop and have the discussion.
I think it's harder when you're young to know exactly what your expectations are, because you have to learn them as life
Yeah, you don't know. The
evolves.
only reason we know is because we're not 20.
Well, we're not that far off 20, Gemma. Okay, all right,
no.
maybe just a little, maybe double.
My knees might be thinking different.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if it's right for us to lay expectations on other people, but maybe just identifying what people shouldn't expect from us, because we've learned over the years.
I mean, I truly believe that zero expectation is the way to go. I know that sounds
Oh, it's
crazy.
really
I think
sad.
it's just zero, but I think like that I also believe that it is sad, but I also believe that it makes you very self-reliant. And as long as you can trust yourself, when you trust yourself and you have complete confidence in who you are and your decisions and how you present yourself and getting what you want and achieving your goals and all those things, that it's very easy to have less expectations of other people. When you know that you're going to always make the mark, you don't always count. It's not here nor there whether they do, because you're creating your own life experience.
I guess less expectations means less disappointment a lot of times too.
That's what I mean. It's just less everything. So if you have an expectation have it of yourself, create the life that you want for yourself, and then you don't have to worry about anybody else or what. Now, would they do something awesome? Yes. If somebody's surprisingly, like, I also try to acknowledge when things go correct, right? So,
Oh, the
But-
right and like bucket
but
is getting
if
bigger.
you acknowledge when things are like, oh my God, that's so great. Like, you don't want to always be negative. I'm not negative. I'm realistic, right? I really believe that I'm very realistic and not negative,
Right?
although it could come across negative.
I feel like we're gonna have to manage the rights, and then we're gonna have to move on to the likes.
I'm already so
Because
far
there's
behind
too
you,
much.
it's beyond.
You're so far behind.
I
And when we
am.
go to Vegas, you're gonna have to use all your chips up.
We're going on, I'm going to have to get us a sponsor or something.
We need the right like sponsor.
Yeah,
I'm dying.
something
Okay, well,
crazy.
my expectations are that we're gonna lose the word right, and then we're moving on to the word like.
Okay. You might have to let loose of that expectation.
I feel like this could be a problem. Oh my
Me too,
gosh,
oh my
it's always
gosh.
so fun with you.
It's
Okay,
hilarious.
well, this is TNT, and you'll see us again soon. Bye, firecrackers.